Thanks for joining us again. Now, just before the break, we were talking about North Geelong's match and also that they have a new court this year and new club rooms. We were talking about Birdie just during that break. Very interesting move with what they've done out there.
Well, without going out there personally and seeing it just yet, I believe the new netball courts are on the other side of the footy oval, and the netball change rooms are situated near where the old netball court was. So it's a very large gap between the playing court and the change rooms. The girls have to traverse the entire oval to get back to the change rooms or vice versa. So it seems to me a bit of a funny or strange setup, or whoever planned it all out, why they just didn't, you know, maybe tack on the club rooms to the existing club rooms. And I don't know, the old netball court, I thought they actually, without knowing, until I got told this, I thought the new netball court was where the old one was. They just ripped up the surface and put a brand new one there. But from what I am led to believe, this is not the case.
There may not have been enough room around the old one for the regulations to have a new one put there. With that side where the club rooms were being right behind there was never much room for standing and watching through there. So maybe that's the reason why they had to move it. I'm unsure as to that there.
Personally, myself, if they've put the change rooms where they've put them, just put the netball court on the end of it.
On the end of it.
That'd be the smart thing to do, you know. They've got plenty of room there. That fireman's driveway where, you know, that long road there, they've got plenty of room there. It's just strange that they've put the courts a million miles away from where the change rooms are. I don't understand that. But then again, I'm not from North Geelong, so I don't know. Maybe they had a reason behind it. I don't know. But I'm sure that there'd be some of the netballers that wouldn't be happy with it. Walking such a far distance to get changed, and then, like down in Winch, you've got your courts right next to your change rooms, you know, pretty much where the white weatherboard place is. But of course, you've got to improve that, you know, before you can get change rooms. But you've got something there that you know, if you have to, you can get changed, but not walking 15 minutes away to get changed.
You think there'd have to be a reason though for that? I can't imagine they would just put the change rooms out one end and the courts at the other.
You know, it's a good thing, Megan. We might be able to get someone from North Geelong to come onto the show and explain the reasoning behind it.
Great.
So anyone from North Geelong, you're more than welcome to come next week and explain to us exactly the inner workings of certain people's minds and why they've situated wherever they have.
And what surface you've actually decided to put on the top there too, because I know with Winch we were looking at the plexi-pave, the Synplave, there's Rebound Ace, there's all these providers and different courts, and looking at Corolla, Surface, Leopold's, and just making that decision is a massive decision because they've all got different things and totally different costs and things. If you give us a bit of an outlay on what you've got, and then for anyone in the future wanting to update their courts, which I know a few clubs are looking at doing at this stage, like where it'll be depending on what Netball Victoria says in relation to their courts when they go and have a look at that. But there's definitely going to be moves towards that synthetic surface, but what kind is again a bit of a decision.
So North, we would love anyone from your club to come on if you can spare some time next week. That would be fantastic. All right, Bannockburn are shaping up against Geelong West. Felicity, what are your thoughts on this game?
I think we played Geelong West a couple of weeks ago when we last played. And we had a fairly easy win over them. So, and then Bannockburn, Corolla bet them by a fair bit too. So I think it'll be a good shape up for the both of them just to see how they're going with that end of things. But I think Bannockburn will come away with a win there. I believe they're at home to Bannockburn. So
Bannockburn at home,
and I'm an ex-Bannockburn girl myself, so I think they're back in my younger days.
So that explains the scar on your neck. Okay, that's all. Just ask you.
Birdie.
Well, I can see it's the scar staring at me. I'll have to ask her about it.
Maybe that.
Sorry,
I'm not talking about.
No offence to anyone in Bannockburn. You're all nice people down there, okay?
Sure, there's probably a few people making comments about you at the moment, Birdie, from their television set.
I'll just tell everyone just to join the queue, because, that's all right.
All right, a question for you, Birdie. Is this a good chance for Geelong West to get an early win? Do you think they can get over Bannockburn this weekend?
Look, both teams have come off, a bit of a drubbing in the first round. Bannockburn and Geelong West both lost comprehensively. even though it's at home and Mandy Lima, she'll be pulling out all stops to try and get over Geelong West. But Geelong West, sometimes, they're a surprise package. Sometimes you think, wow, they've just got, belted. And then all of a sudden the week after, they'll come out and play a blinder. And you'll think, well, why don't we put this together week in and week out, this type of performance? It's going to be very tough. The thing is, at Bannockburn, everyone likes to win at their home ground. Hopefully after both teams suffering their first round losses have gone away, done their homework, tried to improve on those areas where they are lacking, and come out and see what happens. I'm sure Geelong West, earlier in the season, struggling to even find players for some of their junior teams, it's a big challenge for them to come up and try and do something here. Yeah. So
Geelong West did show potential with their defence, and they've got the new shooter in as well. So even though Winch gave them a pummeling, I think against a more even side, they might have a true indication of where they're both at, and how their new players are going with them too. Because I think she's got potential. Their new shooter, I don't particularly remember her name there, but she had potential there, and their defence has come up against a very hard side there with us anyway. But I think they may well do.
You've also got to remember this early part of the season, teams are still gelling. Different players have come to different clubs and just finding out what each other can do, and so there's that also you have to consider. It's not until maybe round 6 or 7 until teams have started to gel together. So look, it'll be a great game, and it'll be interesting to see what happens out there.
West there, yeah. Bertie, final game is Belmont versus East Geelong.
Belmont versus East. Well, both these sides coming off losses as well last week. I think East played Werribee last week, and Belmont played Belpost Hill. Belmont just lost by 5, 6, 7 goals last week. So they'll be looking at coming out with all guns blazing. I don't think it's probably any secret that Sarah de Grand is now playing for Belmont. So Amy Hardman, the coach of East Geelong, Amy's actually goalkeeper, more than likely will have the job on Sarah de Grande. And you could probably just about bet that Jess de Grande will be playing in goal attack as well. So we've got two reasonably tall girls there floating around in the goal circle. So I really do think probably East Geelong will have their hands full in trying to keep them quiet. Got Justine Radford running through the centre court as well. And look, Belmont's centre court did a really good job last week. Nicole Stevenson running centre, who is Justine's sister, did a great job last week, I thought, against Belpost Hill. So I really do think unless East can sort of stop Belmont's goalers, then they're going to be in a world of trouble. So I would probably say Belmont over the line.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to having some more netball on today. It'll be great to chat about some of this week's games next week. But next week, Bertie is not going to be with us. Very sad that you unfortunately can't make the show. Well, you're telling me you can't make it, Bertie.
Okay.
So
all right.
I haven't just given you the flick.
Yes, no, I have prior engagements next week I must attend to.
So, therefore, we have very big shoes to fill. If there is anyone out there who would love to come and join us on the show, Bertie, we don't need a demonstration.
I thought one of my shoes or something.
If there's anyone out there who'd love to come on the show, please drop us a line. We are on Facebook as well, so if there's anything you want to let us know about what's happening at your club, please let us know. Felicity, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks once again.
Bertie, thank you.
Girls,
great to see you.
It's always a pleasure. We will
miss your company.
I just hope Felicity gets something about that scar. It just sort of annoys me a bit, but that's all right.
And on that note, we'll be back next week after this is Dick and the Boys with The Footy Show.
I'm here to tell you how football is strong.